Hello and welcome to my knowledge world, the Pushkar's Wiki. Hope you watched the first part of the Monarchy series. If not, I would request you to please watch it as this is the continuation of that video where we will talk about the Hanoverians and the Windsors. The Hanoverians. With no surviving heirs of Queen Anne, the crown passed to distant relatives in Germany, beginning the Hanoverian dynasty. The first was George I, born in 1660 in Hanover. He barely spoke English and left much governing to his ministers, which helped establish the system of a prime minister, leading to Sir Robert Walpole as the first British prime minister in 1721. He reigned from 1714 until his death in 1727. His reign led to a much more democratic and constitutional Britain, where the powers had split between the monarch and the parliament. George II, born in 1683, became king in 1727 after his father George I. Married to Caroline of Ansbach, he relied heavily on her wisdom and she quietly influenced much of his reign. George II is remembered as the last British monarch to personally lead troops in battle at Dettingen in 1743. His time on the throne also saw the role of the Prime Minister become firmly established. He died in 1760 at the age of 76. Then came George III, perhaps the most famous of the Hanoverians. Born in 1738, he married Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz and had 15 children. His reign lasted 60 years, the longest of any king before him. George III oversaw Britain's victory over Napoleon, but also the loss of American colonies. In his later life, he suffered from periods of several mental illnesses, leading to his son ruling as regent. He died in 1820, remembered as both Mad King George and a devoted family man who cared deeply for his family. His son George IV was very different from his father. Flamboyant, extravagant, and indulgent, George was known for his fine art and architecture but was unpopular with the public. He reigned from 1820 to 1830, leaving behind grand buildings like Buckingham Palace but also a reputation for excess debts and loan in the royal treasury. Next came his brother William IV, also known as the Sailor King because of his naval service. William was more modest and approachable than his brother. Married to Adelaide of Saxe-Meiningen, he had no surviving children. His reign from 1830 to 1837 saw the passing of the Reform Act, which modernized Parliament. He died in 1837, remembered as a plain-spoken monarch who helped ease Britain into a new age of democracy. William's niece then became Queen, Victoria. Married to her cousin Prince Albert, Victoria reigned for more than 63 years, the second longest in British history. Her time on the throne saw Britain become one of the greatest powers in the world, dominating trade, science, and culture and the Industrial Revolution. After her husband Prince Albert's early death, she spent much of her life in mourning, but her influence remained vast. She became the Empress of India in 1877. This title was bestowed upon her to solidify the British monarch's authority over the Indian Empire. She died in 1901, giving her name to an entire era, the Victorian Age, overseeing the growth of the British Empire across the globe. Victoria was succeeded by her son Edward VII. Edward had waited nearly 60 years to become king, and when he did finally in 1901, he brought energy and charm. Married to Alexandra of Denmark, he modernized the monarchy's image and built strong diplomatic ties across Europe and having a firm control on the army and navy. He died in 1910 and is remembered as the uncle of Europe and a popular king. The Windsors. His son George V ascended the throne in 1910. Married to Mary of Teck, he guided Britain through hardship with calm and dignity during the First World War and helped Britain in gaining victory in 1918. In 1917, he made a symbolic change, renaming the royal family from the German-sounding House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha of his grandfather Prince Albert to the very English House of Windsor. He died in 1936 at age 70 and remembered for his naval command and steady leadership throughout the reign. What followed was dramatic. His son Edward VIII became king in 1936 but is remembered for one of the shortest reigns in British history. Just months after taking the throne, he shocked the world by abdicating to marry Wallis Simpson, an American commoner, something the government and the church would not accept. His choice created a constitutional crisis. After stepping down, he lived mostly abroad as the Duke of Windsor, leaving his younger brother George to take the throne and steer Britain through World War II. The crown passed to his brother George VI. George was never expected to be king, but during World War II, he became a symbol of courage. Married to Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, he stayed in London during the Blitz, boosting morale of the people, and under his reign, Britain won in the Second World War. He was deeply respected by his public, and his reign eventually oversaw the fall of the massive British Empire. He died in 1952, leaving the throne to his daughter, Queen Elizabeth II. Born in 1926, became queen in 1952 after the death of her father, King George VI. She reigned for an extraordinary 70 years, the longest in British history, and became a symbol of continuity in a rapidly changing world. Married to Prince Philip for more than 70 years, she balanced her role as monarch, wife and mother with remarkable dedication. Under her reign, the British Empire transformed into the Commonwealth, and she adapted the monarchy to a modern age of television, mass media and global politics. Despite family challenges and national crisis, her calm presence and sense of duty earned her deep respect across the world. When she passed away in 2022, people everywhere mourned not only a queen but a constant figure who had shaped an era. And today her son, King Charles III, is king, known for his long wait as an heir over 7 decades. Charles was first married to Diana Spencer, with whom he had 2 sons, William and Harry. After Diana's tragic death, he later married Camilla, now Queen Consort. His reign is still beginning, but he carries the weight of centuries of tradition into a modern age. And that's the journey from the Tudors to today's Windsors, a story of power, duty and change through the centuries. Thank you for watching. Hope you liked it.